I think is a bit overdone right now. The counterpoint to that is from like a long-term perspective, AMD's trading somewhere near PE-wise where it trades. And long-term, there's a lot of optimism, not just from them. TSMC's made some comments too, alluding to it. AMD could be strong in the future. So it depends on your time frame, really. AMD is a very good company. It truly is. I'm not a buyer right here. Promo says, too bad Intel Foundry sucks. Speaking of, Ming-Chi spoke. And we've talked about this before, by the way. So you guys already know. Did Ming-Chi delete it? Huh. There's a post going around Ming-Chi had commented on, specifically about Qualcomm walking away from Intel's 20A node. We have already pointed out in the past that was actually expected. That was already expected. But there seems to be this perception in the market of like NVIDIA moving their future production to Intel, because when he was over in Taiwan, Jensen Huang was asked by a journalist what his thoughts on NVIDIA's foundry efforts were. And he said, no, we've gotten some test chips from him. Very positive, very strong. He never said they were putting in orders. And I've seen so many people try to make the bear case against like TSMC and Samsung, talking about how NVIDIA would move production over to Intel. That was not fucking true. That was blatant lies. So yeah. On Semi having a good day? Yep, it is. So is Air. You bet the NVIDIA craziness goes on tomorrow, sells off on earnings. Be interesting to see. Will the market sell off if their guide for the following quarter is $13 billion? Jordy says, literally zero chance Jensen trusts Intel first generation foundry effort. I agree. I'm not in Air right now. I'm waiting. Still waiting. Do I have any thoughts on Affirm? No. Guys, while we're excited about today's action, I'm not buying shit on a day when the bonds are doing this. Like, I'm just as bullish as you guys, generally speaking, but tactically, this doesn't. Today we're being driven by NVIDIA, Megacap, Tesla. That's it. Most of this chart's red. Bond yields are at the highest they've been all year long. This is not a data buy. Be it, I sold my calls this morning. I sold them a little bit too early. I did fine, though. We did talk about Palo Alto. Turns out we should have listened to them. They said their earnings call was scheduled on a Friday because of scheduling conflicts. They wanted to make it easier to get all the people they wanted on the phone call. Turns out that was it. They did really well. Today could absolutely be post-OPEX effect. Yeah, it could absolutely be. I'll let some of the smarter macro people talk about that. Promo, look at the long-term charts of XLU utilities. Oh, God. I bet this is funny. Reminder, utilities are the ultimate defensive sector. If you are concerned about a recession, theoretically, the playbook says to buy this. I don't know if people's concerned right now in the U.S. a recession. Be at your Palo Alto. I'll tell you what's happy. I have a decent amount of shares in Sentinel One, and Sentinel One's going nuts today. Zoom, I have my position closed out. I previously gambled, and lost. Zoom is weird. Zoom is weird. What's the positioning like for Zoom? Zoom's earnings are tonight, by the way. Sydney Cindy says higher for longer. Also, careful. Higher for longer at this point has become a marketing term. What is higher for longer? Right? Like, what is higher? What is longer? If higher, you mean our current level of interest rates, and longer meaning they're held until the middle of next year. I don't know. I assume the market's kind of priced that shit in, but I don't know. By the way, promo, what is the impact of interest rates on utilities specifically? I don't know if there's any kind of like weird play there. I don't know. The promo is pointing out the Bank of America note on Nvidia, bullish investor expectations. Data center, 8.7 billion, 10.8 billion for, so 8.7 billion for this quarter, 10.8 billion for next quarter, well above sell side consensus at 7.8 this quarter and 9.6. So potential for stock volatility, though our discussions suggest supply constraints, packaging specifically, by the way, well recognized, and management's forward commentary, yeah. Bad for utilities, got it. Yeah, the sector does trade with high correlation with bonds. That has to do probably with its notable defensiveness. So I'm willing to bet that's also why it tends to do better in lowered interest rate environments, because those tend to be correlated with recessions. Padres fan, sure. What promo is pointing out right now is that sell side versus, in this case, bullish or just buy side, the buy side expectations are a lot higher, meaning there's concerns that basically we've priced in a lot of the good news. All right. So basically, you want to catch the sell side. The sell side are theoretically the most pessimistic on a specific company or sector. So the fact that you've got investors expecting for next quarter's guide for data center 10.8 billion, meanwhile the more pessimistic people are 9.6 billion, basically you want to see a number higher than 9.6 billion. That's just, by the way, for data center. That's not their total revenue. Also, when he points out that everyone knows the supply constraints, everyone knows NVIDIA is supply constrained. Is that based around the constraints? Yeah, based around the constraints. My pleasure. Thank Prometheum for sharing it. It's very nice of him to do that. But yeah, right now, basically, expectations have probably risen above. Like, I'm worried about how NVIDIA is now ramping in. The thing that's worried me has not been the price expectations. There's been numerous analyst notes that have come out suggesting everyone's expectations for their guidance keeps moving up. I was hoping they would go into earnings without those increased expectations so they could catch everyone flat-footed. Yeah, promo's correct. When buy side is above sell side, it's set up a hard to win situation since they are positioned bullishly. Yep. In the ER. Counterpoint to that, though, is if those expectations are beat and sell side has to move up, stocks usually you'd expect to go up. That's why it's a risk. That's why it's the ultimate risk. Pull back tomorrow? Could be. I don't know. I mean, Nvidia's up 8 fucking percent. Palo Alto's up 14.7. Sentinel 1, 16%. Hey, Dolphin Fun, first time chat. Welcome to the party, my friend. Any thoughts on Novo Nordisk? I don't understand the weight loss drug market very well, but apparently they're doing very well. We had previously looked, hell, we actually previously had a position in Novo Nordisk. Close that one out way too early because it was down at 110, but they've been doing really well. I don't know what the market looks like for the space, though. If I follow the Aiden break, yeah, I have. Chem Life, I'm keeping my eye. I don't understand the whole payments space. Like, I don't know how to play it. Yeah, Marvell is this week. Also, keep in mind, Marvell is not a clean comparison to NVIDIA. All right? Marvell has a lot of exposure to being the #1 provider of, quote, memory controllers in the world. So they actually have a interesting correlation with the memory market, particularly for data center. They do have an ASIC design business. They are the partner of choice, people believe, for, like, for example, Amazon and their efforts to produce their own AI chips. Like, Marvell is an ASIC creator, designer. So they do have exposure to companies designing their own, quote, custom AI chips. Marvell's in that space. Marvell's a really cool company. I still maintain there's not a lot of good reason to buy it when Broadcom's right there. Broadcom's a better company. Obesity drugs bullish for health insurance companies, or could the demand spike eat into profit margins? I don't know yet. That's what I do want to think about. Yep, Soxel with the casual 9%. Thanks. Thank NVIDIA for that. Like how TSMC fills that gap and then bounces. Hopefully this fucker goes up. I need it. Tesla is up 7%. Good Lord. This might just be a lot of people were bearish on semiconductors and mega cap going into OPEX last week, and this is just a repositioning. Yeah, Amitas is correct. Wednesday's spicy not just because of NVIDIA. You have Autodesk, Snow, and Splunk. I tell you right now, with the expectations being so high in NVIDIA, you do not want to be in any of those other 3 companies if they miss. By the way, I'm avoiding them all. So aside from NVIDIA this week, fuck, marry, kill, go. Marry Ulta. Ulta is on Thursday. I like them. All right. Fuck, in this case, I will assume to be a positive. Probably Medtronic. What's the expectation for Medtronic again? Probably pretty shitty, right? Kill. Lowe's could be a kill. Could be. There's so many retail-based companies that I feel like retail is the ultimate spot for differentiation, right? Like, that could be an interesting one. When's Air reporting? Oh, I have no clue. Yeah, the retail side, because you have Urban Outfitters, you have Macy's, you have Dick's and BJ's on the same day. Gotta love that. All right, Dollar Tree, Burlington. All right, Gap, Ulta. Ulta's the one I like the most. All right, it's true. I almost promise you guys, at least one retail company has earnings and ends up 10%, and at least one retail company has earnings and ends up down 20%. Ooh, GC Jim, I like this question. I wonder if Dollar Tree is seeing margin expansion with input costs lowering. That's a good question. The problem that I would have with that is I think they may have a customer problem with Walmart. I believe Walmart's been taking share from dollar stores. Spencer, I looked into Amazon's iteration of enterprise AI platform. They have, yeah, called Bedrock. I actually saw the interview or the piece from I believe CNBC or Bloomberg talking about their AI efforts. Yeah, it was interesting. Thoughts on Marvell's earnings? I would probably sell before their earnings, particularly with Nvidia going the day before. People need to understand Marvell's main line of business is not AI. So I assume they'll be relatively bullish, but if people are thinking they're going to duplicate what Nvidia did, no, 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 no. We talked about the Argentinian pre-election. No. You want to see how libertarians feel betrayed as Miley as he abolishes the central bank just to adopt the US dollar. Yeah. To all those people that were concerned about BRICS, BRICS, and quote de-dollarization, you have a country literally saying, let's throw away our currency and just use the US dollar. By the way, all those doomers talking about the de-dollarization, you think for 1 second the Chinese yuan being readily accepted as a reserve currency is gaining any kind of traction right now with what China's doing? No. Promo, why would Marvell be bullish? Isn't networking generally doing poorly? The part that's not doing poorly is a lot of the custom data fabric that's being used specifically for AI instances. That's where Marvell plays. Semis are fab. I've seen this. Let me disagree. As best as possible. And how you doing, my friend? Someone points out big options play on Sentinel-1 as though therefore someone must have known the company was going to be putting itself up for sale. Counterpoint to that is Sentinel-1 moves closest with 2 companies, CrowdStrike and Palo Alto. Palo Alto's up big. CrowdStrike's up big. Someone may have gotten lucky on that. They may not have. They may not have, but specifically, Sentinel-1 was expected to go up today after Palo Alto reported last Friday. Promo, are my shirt? Yeah. It's absolutely sub 5% of Marvell's revenue, but just like last quarter when they talked about how they're seeing their custom ASIC business, Marvell's still a large player in that. So for example, AI accelerator fabrication is less than 5% of TSMC, but they produce 80 to 90% of it globally. That's what I'm talking about here. So they'll have a very positive notion behind it, even though in general, it's the same thing that you called out, by the way, promo for last earnings. Marvell should have not probably been down as much as it was, but it also probably shouldn't have literally like gone up 50%. Because they spoke about an incremental, what was it, 200 million, $400 million in revenue? Like, come on, that was crazy. Same situation applies here. Yeah, so semis are fab. Does that make sense? Like, I saw this tweet earlier. I don't know if it was specifically on the news that they are, quote, looking into potentially selling themselves. This could have just been this morning. A lot of people jumped into cybersecurity because of Palo Alto's earnings on Friday. You think the US dollar stays king, but decreases in value versus a basket of... Basically, you're just saying commodities get more expensive, which is fair. I think that's fair. The problem is, I do not see any group of countries agreeing on what that basket of currencies or commodities, what the composition looks like. Because shocker, China will ask for more coal in it. Russia will ask for more like titanium, iron, zinc, aluminum. Indonesia would probably say more coal, right? South Africa would say more gold. Like all the countries who basically produce these commodities will ask for more of those commodities in it and less of the ones they don't have. That's always my thing. People are always like, they're going to come up with a gold-backed currency in my office. Let's chat. You do not need a gold-backed currency. Fucking trade gold. Anyway. Mark my words. I'm going to sound like an asshole when I say this. You will never see a, quote, commodity-backed currency gain serious traction if the effort's going to have specifically India. Watch. Yeah, until someone starts to redeem all that currency for gold. That's why you won't see it. Everybody sees that happening. The moment some country says, our bills are backed by gold, is the second the next day someone comes in with that currency and says, give me all your gold, bitches. Like everyone's gangster until their currency gets recognized by George Soros. Just saying. You would do that because shiny. You just want to be like Scrooge McDuck in the money vault, swimming in the gold. US dollar is backed by F-35s and destroyers. I'm going to play Becky for earnings. I have an existing Ulta position, very small. I'm holding. We call this the crypto problem, one of their problems. For a currency to be backed by something, it needs to be worth at least as much as that something. Yep. By the way, if you guys saw Estee Lauder or you saw, what's it called? ELF, Becky is not universally strong. We're seeing a lot of differentiation. We're seeing a lot of differentiation. All right, ELF did really well. By the way, filled that gap. Where's Jussie? Someone tell him, should we be jumping into ELF right now? That gap perfectly filled, it looks like. But yeah, you have Ulta this week reporting. Tonight, only one company matters for earnings, Zoom. I know people associate it as a Kathy stock. Did you know Zoom is profitable? You're like, it fucking better be. Its forward PE, if you believe these numbers, is 15. The problem I see with Zoom, like, Zoom is wild. I will remind everyone. All right? Zoom currently, according to this, has $19 a share in cash. Zoom has a fuckload of cash. This company's been profitable for a while. All right? So when they report tonight, I have no clue. The reason to not be in Zoom is they exist by the grace of Microsoft. Is Zoom going to buy a gold mine? No, but imagine if Zoom offers up dividends, which basically is like admitting your growth is dead. But yeah, Zoom only exists because Microsoft hasn't gotten around to squishing them. Zoom is destined to be a niche product like Slack, but it's profitable. Yeah, Microsoft crushed them? Absolutely. Like, Microsoft agreed to not give away Teams Messenger with Office for enterprise clients. That's like a very nice way of saying, like, we'll let you live for now. Go up ELF or Estee Lauder? I've got Estee Lauder trading at a forward PE of 24. Yeah, I've got it at forward PE of 20. Stop looking at backward PE. No one cares. That's the best way to put it. The reason why is because the last year was really bad, particularly for good spending. And particularly, Estee Lauder has a lot of exposure to China. Love this for Zoom. Let's see. By the way, if I was going to gamble on Zoom, I'd buy calls. Yeah, someone's pointing out Zoom is now $5 away from its IPO price. So April 19, the stock was $60. Today, it's $65. Revenue back in April of 2019 was $60 million. Today, $4.4 billion. It's a good question, Glup. Seriously. Jaw, will backward PE be... Backward PE should never be relevant. I'm of the... who cares? Backwards PE is like year-over-year CPI. Who cares? Because right now, the reason that the year-over-year CPI is 3.3% is because of what inflation looked like last September, last October, etc. Who cares? The last 3 months, if you annualize the last 3 months, you're at 2% inflation. That's why there's discussion about the Fed pausing versus a 25 basis point hike. Callie Otter says, hasn't Zoom dropped like almost every earnings? Yes. So with Zoom in particular, look at this stock. This is the monthly chart. Their stock price was transitory. Prema, what's that face for? The transitory nature of their stock. This thing was $550. Does Zoom get the J. Arlington shit? No, because they made money. This like for the vast majority of this time, this company made money. Okay, Zoom is profitable. Zoom is profitable. There's like to me, a shitco doesn't make money. It loses money. It's got to be like number one. The problem with Zoom is, let's chat, guys. Fair disclosure. What I'm about to tell you is something Jim Cramer has said, and it's one of the smartest things I think I've ever heard him say. He was talking specifically about Zoom. He also, I believe, referenced Peloton with this argument. He talked about how the problem with these companies is that they collected so much cash during COVID and then did nothing with it, particularly Zoom. Zoom should have made acquisitions, particularly when their stock price was high. They could have issued shares, gave even more cash, and bought up other companies. The fact that Zoom does communication software, instead of, say, buying someone like SentinelOne, moving into cybersecurity and communications, or Twilio, so even more on the communication side, was the mistake. No one said a company like Zoom only has to be Zoom software. Look at CRM, Salesforce.com. They own Slack. They own Tableau. They've made acquisitions. Dumbest Money has no ecosystem. Essentially, they could develop the ecosystem or they could buy the ecosystem. When you see this chart, you can see they had so much dry powder to buy the ecosystem. That's what they should have done. So right now, for $67, you can buy a company that's got about 20 bucks a share in cash and is going to keep making money. I wonder if they will do either a share repurchase or a dividend. Makes you wonder who owns Discord. It's private, but supposed to be IPOing. Bruce Gold, yeah, but Salesforce has really struggled since the Slack acquisition. To be fair, that's not the Slack acquisition. That's a Salesforce specific thing. Padres fan, did Ulta discuss the impact of the Target integration in their earnings last quarter? Or are we set to learn more? I have no clue what specifically you're referring to. Target spoke about Ulta. Beauty was really good for Target. That's why I'm comfortable buying. That's why I bought Ulta. Target spoke very positively of Ulta. I don't know what Ulta is going to say, but Target did call out Beauty and the Ulta stores in particular being very positive for them. I think they mentioned that Ulta basically doubled their sales year over year. Just a Dree, who the fuck uses Zoom? Smaller businesses, entrepreneurs, people who don't have essentially the heft to buy full service Microsoft systems. Because that's the bear case against Zoom from a longer term standpoint. Like large enterprises, you already get Microsoft's Teams basically for free when you start buying everything else, right? A lot of them do use the free version, yeah. By the way, they still make money. This is still a profitable enterprise. Microsoft can buy Zoom. It's a rounding error. Have you met Lena Khan? I assume Microsoft and Zoom would literally have like over 80% of the quote WebEx market, right? It's got to be really big. Everyone without an iPhone. Not a wrong comment. Rally Duke, what about Salesforce and Zoom? I mean, like, it makes a lot of sense. The only issue, supposedly, the board of directors is not allowing Mark Benioff to do any more acquisitions. And Mark Benioff has told investors he's not looking to do any more acquisitions. Right? But yeah, the funny thing is Slack, Zoom, Tableau, Salesforce all together kind of makes sense. That's not a bad call out. The funny thing is how much would you have to pay for Zoom for it not to be EPS accretive, given the fact that Zoom currently trades at a PE of 15, whereas Salesforce is what, 45? Whoa, Salesforce is 23? Forward PE 23? The fuck? Google should buy them. Yeah, probably. By the way, if you're buying Zoom as a company, what you're actually buying existing customers and data centers that exist basically across the world. That's the assets for Zoom. Really, the number one is the customers. Zoom calls will be millennials' version of NAM flashbacks. Lena Khan wants a pony. Callie Otter, remember that Zoom booth in AMC? I remember. Promo, are those gap numbers? SBC is so high at these companies. So I noted, well, Salesforce is a ridiculous SBC situation. They're insane. So I assume that's almost certainly non-gap, right? Zoom, the interesting thing about Zoom is their rate of stock increase is slowed down dramatically. Thoughts on Lowe's earnings? Do not like them. Do not like them. Trap. Probably a trap. Lowe's, you got to understand the difference between Lowe's and Home Depot. Home Depot has a lot more exposure to the contractor slash professional market. Lowe's is the do it yourself. The strength of Home Depot's came from contractor business. They actually said the do it yourself market was a little bit down. All right. So I would not play Lowe's. Now the interesting thing is that you look at this chart, and basically they're down about 10% since the start of August. You can find a lot of charts like that. So at this point, I assume expectations probably suck. I'm not touching them. ChemLife, CRM share count has gone from 400 million to 975. Careful. You're not wrong, ChemLife, but I will tell you right now, CRM has grown through acquisition. I know a lot of those big share spikes was using share count to essentially fund acquisitions. They use stock to do it. It's not the same thing as Palantir or DraftKings, companies that their share count's gone up because they've paid themselves through it. Don't get me wrong, Salesforce famously pays themselves through shares too. Be right back. Use the restroom. Yes, Hershey. Look at all these motherfuckers. Look at them. Yes, Galloping Conch. It's our friend. Yes, he was at my door watching me stream. He's got a cute little tummy. Yes, he does. I've started playing a new game with him, which is I'll go into my bed and I'll put myself under the sheets. And so he starts digging to find me. And if he finds my face, he just starts licking my nose. You little terrorist. All right, Hershey, time to get eaten. All right. From Bank of America numbers, Zoom forward non-gap PE is 16 and gap is 121. I assume the gap is specifically on the stock-based compensation side, right? I expect EPS to be flat to slightly down through 2025. Yep, the Microsoft penalty. Look at the SPY, by the way. SPY has been impressive today, shall we say. Impressive. Despite the fact that bonds, I'm surprised the market's up. I am surprised the market's up with how the bonds were selling off this morning. Bonds have been recovering slightly, right? Yeah, they're still down. Yeah. I assume it's not as simple as people selling bonds to buy stocks, but I'm scratching Hershey. He started attacking my leg, which is cute. Hi, fucker. Let me finish my stream, then I'll beat you up. How about that? Row Duke. Nvidia smells like sell the earnings. It's almost positioning that way. The funny thing is Nvidia is right about where it started this month. So Nvidia went from sell the run into earnings to all of a sudden in one day just undoing all that shit. Get him, Hershey. You're a mighty wolf. Do not tell him he's a mighty wolf. The last thing you want is a little shih tzu thinking he's in charge. Clearly, uranium and Nvidia are a pairs trade. Apparently. Broadcom's fucking. It's good to see. By the way, I ain't buying shit today. I'm tempted. I mean, is there any interesting options activity on Zoom at all? Yeah, Jon Snow. Broadcom cleared the VMware today. Of course, they're fucking. They're also probably a Broadcom legitimately right now. After Nvidia is the company with the most AI exposure. It's Broadcom. It's Broadcom. Yeah, I'm not playing Zoom. If I was going to play Zoom, it is very much stupid reasoning, but I would expect them to actually go up. And it's pure charts. Pure charts. If I was doing any real buying today, Deere is the company I want to keep my eye on. John Deere, I don't understand this. The stock's basically down 10% in less than a week, or less than 2 weeks, off their earnings where they beat an increased guidance. Because people are saying, oh my God, the peak is here, the peak is here. They are an absolute market leader in ag tech. Something tells me this company knows what they're doing. Not only that, promo, 12 times forward PE. That's not bad, right? Uneven Donkey, only one earnings tonight, and time. The earnings tonight is Zoom. 439, it looks like the Bulls win. Well played, Bulls, well played. All right, guys, the only earnings we care about is Zoom. Do they get acquired? Right? Do they get acquired? Or does Microsoft crush them? To be fair to Zoom, bigger companies in the past have gotten crushed by Microsoft. It's not like they will be the first, last, or biggest. Promo, market must be calling the peak on Deere's earnings. Only thing that makes sense. That the case PE is useless for a cyclical. I agree with that, yeah. Earnings are not out yet. Caffeine, how you doing, my homie? How you doing, friend? Are you excited for Jackson's Hole? By the way, when do we get the next inflation print? When's the next CPI? Your boy got an interview. Ooh, I assume, what, for internship? Or, yeah, I assume it's an internship, right? Who's Jackson a Hole? Internship for next summer. If you ever need to talk about it, let me know offline. Every hole is a goal. Yep. Microsoft is more secure. Zoom recently updated. You have to sign off on a horrible data mining legal thing. I assume it's only for the free version, but yeah, I did see that. Keeping eyes on Zoom, guys, are the only earnings we care about. You're just happy for the NVIDIA tears. You get to taste their tears again. Savage. The week before the Feds. Okay, so September 13th. All right, guys. 2 minutes until their earnings. The only one we care about today. The only one we care about. I don't know if any other nuke bros in this channel agree that I'm banned. The fuck? I'm banned from the nukes? No. You would invite, thank you. I'll nuke all you bros. By the way, when's the Bloodbath and Beyond news? Isn't there a court hearing? Right? Well, how did they do today? I'll tell you right now, they do not like me. Um, they're not dead. They're only down 1.3 percent. They should be down a lot more. Their stock's going to go to zero. There's at 20 cents a share, so true penny stock environment. All right, here we go. 405. Zoom should be releasing. Come on, Zoom. Which direction? Pick a direction. Pick a direction. Yeah, I did see the J-Pow riding the bear. That was fantastic. Is that your meme? Oh no, everyone running to Reminder, guys. This is our very own Gimme Caffeine. Whoa, Zoom up 8%, 9%. Well played. There's the... Here we go. I like this one. Yeah, Zoom is flying. You know what I hope happens? I hope Salesforce tries to acquire them, because Just a Dream made that point. It was a really smart one. That would actually be a smart acquisition if they were allowed to. Well played, well played. Well played, well paid, yeah. Who here played Zoom? Yeah, they are absolutely fucking right now. I assume some kind of buyback or dividend. Double beat. So GAAP operating margin was 15.6% and non-GAAP was 40%. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it looked like they just beat. It's that simple. They just beat. Nothing special. Promo says tech companies that aren't greater than 20 years old don't pay dividends. No, promo. No. Good tech companies that are under 20 years old don't. No one said Zoom was a good tech company. They crushed it. Holy shit. On EPS, $1.34 beats $1.05. That's a big beat. Dear Mike Wilson, how do you explain this? Fiscal revenue, they are basically guiding like flat. I'll call that flat. It's a little bit up. I'm calling it flat. Adjusted EPS, though, they previously saw 425 to 431. Now they see 463 to 467. So. Hi, Doozy. How you doing, Doozy? I love you, Doozy. Chem Life Gay had one up in himself. He blocked me, so I can't even see his shit anymore. Can we all just agree that Nvidia isn't an AI play? It's a FOMO play that is unhinged from every single narrative imaginable. All right. For anyone who asks why should Nvidia continue to go up, I will point to some of the more deranged bears and say that's why. Some of you guys have to use them. They did talk about specifically their enterprise customers. Come Life, you have to resist the desire to post a screenshot of his ETF performance every time he opens his mouth and say, few dollars left. Someone say money. Oof, been busy all day, but looks like you have some catching up to do with dunking on NVIDIA bears later. Yeah, they're still around. By the way, now Zoom's dropping to, I think, a restrained plus 6%. Terrible Terry Tate, thank you for the sub. Greatly appreciated, my friend. Take care, Steel Coke Eggs. Till tomorrow. By the way, the market on close was $1 billion to the buy side. Specifically, $1.8 billion to the buy side. Bank of America put out a note that said Hawaii Electric shares. God, not to be a dick or anything, I very rarely play trades well. I played one trade on this fucker well, then put a stop loss and literally avoid the next day an even bigger drop. Well, not bigger, but a bigger drop. So I made like $200 or $300, something really small. It was a very small play. Chem Life, the arrogance also, yep. When I lost money in 2022, it was because I thought that performance of the company should equal performance of the stock in the semiconductor space. And I was wrong. The market was pricing in the fact that everyone saw the cliff coming, which I did not. I was wrong, not the market. Dear Gayed, you should learn that same lesson, my friend. Yep, Zoom's year over year. Yep. Yeah, Gayed's not dumb. He's just wrong. How much money does he make running an ETF? Was it Rojo and Jojo? Was it Ro? Is this his? Is this him? Yeah, Ro and Jojo. Ugh. I mean, this is his performance. 2 ETFs, and both of them since inception are down. His seminal paper quoted what by one person, probably himself. It's wild to see software companies showing that they care on EPS, on bottom line. They're not just giving shit away. Someone say money says caffeine. I got some seminal for you. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow. See what our good friend Jay Jared's up to. And I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out, friends. Take care, Terrible Trader.